Back in 2023, I covered all of the Ankama MMORPG titles: Dofus, Dofus Retro, Wakfu, and Waven. Tons of people commented about their nostalgia for those games, what Dofus meant to them, or how maybe they would give it a shot now that they've watched a video on it. However, in the Dofus video, I did mention one other game in the series, Dofus Touch, a game I didn't initially plan to cover, but Ankama did reach out to me and asked if I would give Touch a try, so here I am talking about it. Anyways, Dofus Touch is the full tactical MMORPG experience at your fingertips, which sounds awesome, right? It's still the fully free-to-play tactical turn-based MMORPG like the other games in the franchise. Simply download the app on your mobile device or tablet, log into your Ankama account, and start playing. RuneScape and Albion Online basically have the same setup, where you can play the game on your phone while you're out and about until you get home to play the full game on your PC. Unfortunately, one major tidbit about Dofus Touch is that it's not actually the same game as Dofus on the PC. Instead, Dofus Touch is a slightly altered version of Dofus from the PC. The differences are pretty numerous, but the main thing to note is that they are basically two separate games, which is a bit of a bummer considering I think most would agree that being able to cross-play a game on PC and mobile is an amazing feature, but sadly, Dofus Touch is not cross-play with the PC version of Dofus.
Oh boy, Joe, I gotta tell you, that sounds awful.
But that doesn't mean that Dofus Touch is a bad game, it's just different. Ankama recently announced that on Dofus Touch, there is going to be a new fresh start server for players to jump into. So this video will be covering what Touch has to offer for those looking for an MMORPG on the go. So let's talk about why you might want to jump into Dofus Touch.
Dofus Touch, a colossal adventure at your fingertips.
Once you've downloaded the game to whatever mobile device of your choosing, you'll be greeted with a server choice. Once you get past that, you are on to character creation. Character creation is incredibly similar to the other games of Dofus, with Touch having nearly all the classes available, with some of them missing. You do have most of the options available, like the treasure hunting Unitrophs or the protective Fekkas, but the Hupper Mage, Ujanok, Iliotrope, and Forge Lance haven't been added yet.
This is a load of barnacles.
Still, even with those classes missing, you still have a whopping 15 unique classes to choose from. Once you choose your class, you can then customize some small details like hair and color. Once you choose a name, you are then thrust into the game. Dofus Touch has a relatively similar premise as the other games in the franchise. Touch takes place in the world of the 12, with your character beginning their adventure crash landing on an island, on their way to the main city of Astra. From here, you play through a rather lengthy and in-depth tutorial where you are taught controls, combat, questing, movement, menu interactions, basically everything you would ever need to know how to play the game.
Good.
After the tutorial, if you are familiar with the Ankama Games, you'll pretty much know what to expect because Dofus Touch is basically the same game as Dofus on PC in terms of gameplay and aesthetics. Dofus's art style is once again stellar in Touch with tons of color and great 2D art since a lot of it is using the same assets from Dofus on PC.
Dang, that looked good.
The musical score is decent here as well, and of course with the game being less graphically intense, the performance is as smooth as butter, at least on the device I used to play it on. Now because the game is fully played on mobile devices, its control scheme is all based on touch controls, which luckily isn't too bad, but there is some hiccups I experienced with the touch controls. Moving around and interacting with specific objects can be a bit tough depending on your screen size, especially if you are trying to move screen to screen. I would often interact with something I didn't mean to simply because it was in the way of something I was trying to click on with my finger. The game does try its best to get around issues like this by allowing menus to pop up when objects overlap each other or widgets on screen being movable or hideable, but it doesn't always help. Combat, for instance, can be a prime example of where I accidentally was making mistakes due to the touch controls. Trying to move to specific spots on the map or select a specific tile to attack can be a little bit of a challenge until you get the feel for its touch controls. And don't even get me started on accidentally skipping turns. Word of advice, move that end turn window into the far corner and never move it back. You'll thank me later. It gets even worse in combat when you consider the timer the game enforces on you. Imagine being in a group dungeon with you fighting the controls and you end up skipping your turn simply because you couldn't get the touch controls to listen to what you were trying to do. Other problems I ran into were just strange glitches or graphical problems. Here's an example of a quest tutorial that was trying to teach me about the game's bestiary function. It shows me how to bring it up and then shows me to close it, which it just doesn't let me do. Now I think this occurs on strange screen resolutions because I closed the app on my phone, changed the game to full screen mode, and I was able to get past it. Luckily, I didn't run into issues too often, but it was worth mentioning. Getting back to the meat and potatoes of Dofus Touch, of course you have the turn-based tactical combat. Clicking on an enemy when roaming around initiates a battle where other players can potentially join you, or if you are in a party, the game will prompt you to join your group battle. Turn order is based on your stats, and you move on a tile grid during each turn. Basically, one for one, it's the same combat system as all the other Ankama games. That's not a bad thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and each game does tend to change how each class plays, so there is unique combat gameplay here in Touch in comparison to Dofus, Wakfu, or Waven. Professions for crafting and gathering are also here, sporting all the same professions such as fishing, mining, alchemy, woodcutter, cook, shoe magus, and the list goes on. It's still a bit of a grind to actually increase your profession levels though, but I suppose as long as you're following a guide online, it's not too bad. Questing is of course a staple to any MMORPG, and Touch has a ton of them in each area that will reward you with XP, gear, or other goodies. However, the best content is probably arguably the dungeons. Solo challenges are like single-player dungeons where you can fight a specific boss. Each one will reward you with gear and a hefty chunk of experience. Dungeons, much like other Ankama titles, can be tackled in either solo or group instances. The dungeons are probably some of the most fun content to experience that Touch has to offer, and there is a group finder that you can join if you want to just jump in and run a dungeon on your lunch break. PvP is also here in Touch with many of the same ways to engage with it. You have dueling with other players, group arena PvP, as well as guild PvP. Character customization and progression for all the content basically works the same as Dofus on PC as well. Every level up grants you with 5 stat points that can be spent in vitality, wisdom, strength, intelligence, chance, and agility. Each level up also grants a spell points that can rank up your current abilities to make them stronger depending on your build. You have equipable gear that can be either crafted or looted from enemies. Smaller features like achievements, titles, guilds, and alliances are also here in Touch. Endgame has all of the group dungeons, PvP, as well as a ranked competitive dungeon called Ascension Island, which is exclusive to Dofus Touch. Basically everything Dofus on PC has to offer is on Touch, but literally it's just on the go via your mobile devices. There's definitely a lot of content to experience here, and one of the best parts is that unlike Dofus on PC, the game is completely free to play from level 1 all the way to 200. Now there is quite an extensive cash shop as well as an optional membership that grants perks similar to Wakfu. Currently in Touch there is 2 forms of membership. The standard membership, which only provides extra experience, is called the bonus pack and can either be purchased with real money or earned with in-game currency. The elite bonus pack can only be purchased with real money and provides the most perks like the extra experience, a portable teleporter, the ability to respec your stats and abilities, and more. Beyond the membership, there is also the normal items you typically see in a cash shop.
What?
Cosmetic outfits, pets, emotes, convenience items, etc. Cosmetic bundle packs also tend to include membership in it, so if you wanted to get a cool looking outfit, you'll also typically get up to a month's membership along with it. There is also some items in the cash shop that provide some additional stats, like pets, which grant bonus stats for equipping them, or the stat scrolls, but those are earnable in-game as well. Really, the only grievance I have with the cash shop is the Ghoul-Teens currency. This alternate currency works like Ogrins from Dofus PC, where it's just another currency type that can be purchased and used in the cash shop. The problem with alternate currencies like this is why can't these items just have a normal price tag on them? Why can't this pack of cosmetics be $8 instead of 6,000 Ghoul-Teens? Ghoul-Teens can also be used to purchase items from other players in the auction house as an alternate method to interact with the trading. Players won't get the Ghoul-Teens though, as far as I'm aware, and will still get the normal currency. Some will view these grievances as pay to win, but honestly anything that grants stats or any sort of advantage is earnable in-game and would really only provide an advantage to players in the early game. If you made it this far into the video, first I want to say, dang, thanks for watching. You are a real MVP. Second, I have bonus codes I can hand out to players who want to jump into Dofus Touch. I have 9 codes to hand out that will grant either elite bonus membership or helpful starter items. Simply join my Discord channel and comment that you'd like a code and I'll give you one. These will be first come, first serve. But if you miss out, don't worry. Another quick note for new players is that for a limited time when you join the game now that the new servers have launched, you can pick up a free cosmetic shield and consumable item. Now let's wrap up my thoughts on Dofus Touch. Much like the other Ankama titles, if you like turn-based tactical RPGs, then Dofus Touch is definitely recommended for you. Personally, I grew up playing Final Fantasy Tactics and Fire Emblem, so I've always felt comfortable with Dofus's combat system. The art design is still stellar here in Dofus Touch, with character designs that are eye-catching, as well as the 2D art style just being incredibly well done. Of course, I have to mention that the game is completely free to play, with relatively no strings attached. If you are someone who just can't spend the money right now, you can experience the full game without spending a dime. This is an obvious one, but it is a perk after all. The game can be played on your mobile devices, which means you can play this relatively anywhere. If you want to have a quick dungeon run on the way to work or school, all you gotta do is pull out your device, log in, and you are there. Incredibly easy access. Lastly, compared to other quote-unquote MMORPGs on mobile devices, Dofus Touch has a lot of content and depth behind it. Most games on phones feel like gacha nightmares or have game complexity that's as shallow as a puddle.
Damn! I'm sorry.
But Dofus Touch is a full MMORPG experience all in your pocket. The amount of time you can spend here can compare to titles as big as RuneScape and Albion Online. So I think most of my PC audience can agree that it's cool that Dofus Touch is on mobile devices and all, but why is this not just the PC version with crossplay? I suppose it's a neat idea to have Dofus Touch essentially be an alternate, unique version of current Dofus, but I think most people would have loved having Dofus playable on the go for when they are out and about, and then be able to come back home and log in via their PC.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have
Everyone's got a
phones,
phone.
right?
You can play on your tablet too.
And honestly, I have to ask the question, why not just play the other proper PC Ankama MMOs like Dofus, Wakfu, or Waven, unless you really just like playing Touch on the go? Yes, I do understand you can also play the game on an Android emulator, but that kinda defeats the point of having it on mobile, doesn't it? Which sort of jumps into my next point, which is the whole touch control scheme. I had trouble in some cases trying to specifically tap certain points on my phone, because let's be real here, a small touchscreen just isn't as comfortable as, say, a controller or a proper mouse. Beyond controls, the game also felt a bit more buggy than its counterparts. Besides the example I showed where I couldn't progress a quest unless I logged in and out, there was also small graphical glitches, typos in dialogue, and general jank every now and then. It wasn't anything egregious, but compared to Dofus on PC, Touch felt a lot more buggy. Still, it's a lot more stable than some of the early access MMOs I've played. And this puts a cap on the Ankama franchise of Dofus MMORPGs. Dofus Touch hasn't had a better time to jump in than now, considering they launched brand new fresh start servers for everyone to experience, as well as genuinely trying to expand their American English-speaking audience. The franchise is genuinely underrated, and if anything, it's free to download and at least give the game a try. What have you got to lose besides time if you get addicted after all? Anyways, are you playing Dofus Touch? Comment down below and let me know if this video convinced you to give the game a try or skip it altogether. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video to help support my channel. Follow all my social media links in the description down below, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.